Want to be on the show? Leave a message for Brian and Dave at 779-232-9344. That's 779-232-9344. Call now or not, whatever.
All right, Dave, you can hear me?
I can hear you. I am recording.
All right. So what's going to be different about this episode than previous episodes is the fact that I actually have the real microphone working through my computer now.
That's right. No more lost in a warehouse sounds.
Right. What's funny about that is that has only happened to the guests that we had from Reddit. Jordan Harbinger on the Art of Charm podcast and Billy Procida from the Man Horror podcast. Both of those guys I met on Reddit on the podcasting subforum, asked them to be on the show, and both times I'm a fucking retard with the microphone and recorded through the PC mic instead of the actual microphone.
Well, it happens. It just made my job a little more interesting.
Well, the best part about it is we had those guys call into our show, but it sounds like I'm calling into their show and your show.
Yeah, they had their own microphone set up, and they sounded all professional and legit. And then here's the host of the show.
The host of the show I sound like a fucking moron.
Well, I wouldn't say moron.
Well, I definitely didn't sound awesome.
It just sounded like you didn't have as good of gear.
That's true. Yeah.
But now you do. You're all set up.
But now
you're legit.
Now I do. I'm all set up. Like it's sounding good. Sounding good on your end.
Sounded good on my end. I like it.
Awesome, guy.
You're listening to Nothing Important. Please enjoy the show.
That's great. That works.
Are you recording it or what?
I'm recording as of right now.
Oh, shitties.
All right. So, all right. You ready? This is always like the weirdest part to get started. Like I never know how to get started because if it was like live, we would have a producer standing there and pointing fingers at us and doing the whole silent countdown.
5, 4, 3.
Wow, you guys were way the hell off sync. So if you're listening to this right now, it's kind of a funny setup we have. We have I'm actually on the front porch of my house in downtown Chicago. So if you hear police sirens, microphones, motorcycles, and other things, that's just like my neighborhood. I've already had like 10 people walk by me, and like, what the fuck is that guy doing on his front porch? But it's a beautiful night out. I got a few beers, and I'm ready to talk with you guys. I know you can't see the Skype that we're using, but Dave is actually sitting in a factory of sorts.
I'm in a machine shop. Yes.
Yeah, and Jeff.
I'm in Francis Machine, downtown Wilmington. If anybody needs any parts, mate, feel free to hit us up.
And our friend Jeff is returning via Skype. He was on the episode with Greg Johnson, and I think we had him on another episode as well. But he's the only smart one because he's like in a big, comfy chair in his house with a nice little headset on. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on? It's a leather chair I got from the Habitat for Humanity Restore for $1.
Nice.
Fuck yes.
Yes.
I'm in a free chair that my cat used to shit on.
Yeah. So just if I kind of shared it with you guys in text, but I just want to share it to the people listening. Me and Dave, see, there's a car. See, me and Dave always talk about like how funny it is that we actually get to talk to like successful people and such and develop relationships with them. And we did an episode with Dan Severin, and we actually talked last episode about how funny it is. He's a complete badass, but like he's very soft-spoken, right, Dave?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And what made it great is he wrote me an email today and actually used LOL in the email. and if you were to see Dan Severin, you would never think in a million years he would write LOL.
Yeah, I would picture him as more of a ha-ha guy.
But you know what? He's not.
I'm a total ha-ha guy.
He's just a man of many surprises. So that was kind of cool. But why I'm excited to have Jeff on is because a few episodes ago we didn't have a guest, and you and I just kind of talked about our ridiculous band and how we had a spring break tour of sorts, I guess. I don't know what a farce.
I like to call it an adventure.
An adventure, right? A spring break adventure from Central Illinois down to Florida on a bus with like 40 other people.
Back in '06.
Back in '06, when the century was just so young, so young. And we talked a little bit about how Jeff Fink was actually our quote unquote tour manager.
That's right. He was the some say fifth member. I guess it would be sixth member. Behind the scenes guy, producer, trusted ear. I would call,
and sometimes a backup dancer,
and lead vocalist whenever Brent Rosati would get wasted and start playing "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
Right. The unfortunate part was I was probably just as wasted as Brent all the time.
That would be the fortunate part because it was absolutely hilarious.
You know, one thing I liked about having Jeff participate in our shenanigans was we could just tell another story real quick before we get going. Remember when our band recorded a live Power Hour CD? We did 61-minute songs, and between the songs we recorded ad-libs, and everybody took a drink, and essentially you take 60 shots of beer in an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of fucking beer.
5 beers in an hour.
That's a lot of fucking beer. So Jeff was actually our referee when we did this live for about like 300 people at Illinois State University.
That is correct. I think you lasted about 30 shots, right?
Oh, no, I made it the whole time. I actually almost got in a fight because someone wanted to, I was blowing a whistle in the microphone for every 1 minute because I was keeping it on a stopwatch. And a guy just really wanted to blow the whistle. And I was like, no, man, it's my whistle. I'm not going to let you put this in your mouth. And he's like, fucking, let's do it, man.
But he's like, I'm flow-righted, dude.
Oh, yeah, it was something stupid like that. He had a name that 6 people at the bar knew. So instead of allowing him to do that, as he was trying to tussle me for it, since we knew the owners and everything, I just had him kicked out. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. But that was a pretty epic night, right? Like, man, that place was packed. And I remember getting off the stage, and when everybody left, we were one of the few people left in the bar during cleanup, and there had to be a half inch of beer on the floor for that
awesomely
entire bar.
Disgusting.
Right?
What was
hands down, best show I've ever played in my life.
Oh,
My favorite moment as a live performer. Absolutely.
Right. It was such. It wasn't it for April Fools or something.
And
like that?
It was April Fool's Day, 2006.
Yeah.
It was right after we got back from that trip.
Yeah, it was like right after. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
and
like
the
immediately
bar
after
owner
spring break.
said that was the most profitable day he had ever had in, as far as the business was concerned, ever. Just people buying pictures and then subsequently spilling them all over the floor.
On top of picture. It's awesome.
So
everybody did it.
Just to recap, if you're listening, you don't quite get what we're saying, because I think we're giving a lot of passing references to each other. Basically, when me and Dave had the band, and you've heard some of the shitty-ass recordings of the shitty-ass songs we used to sing, and you heard us talk about spring break, on April Fool's Day, we played a live Power Hour show where our band would play 1-minute songs. Our friend Jeff would be the timekeeper. Every minute he would blow the whistle, and that would be a sign for everybody to take a shot of beer. Now,
Including the band.
The bar worked with us the entire time and was actually selling pitchers and shot glasses at the door. So imagine 300 people listen to this shitty-ass band play 1-minute songs, and then our friend Jeff in a full referee's costume with a whistle and a wireless mic blowing into it every minute to let 300 people know to take a shot of beer. And I remember it being so goddamn hot in there, and it was so goddamn rock and roll and so goddamn ridiculous that I don't know how we finished the show. I remember being almost puking on stage. Our bass player was falling over, and I think Dave's brother actually had to jump in on bass because our bass player Brent didn't he fall asleep on his feet or something and fall into a speaker stack?
That.
Yeah, he was passing out standing up.
He's passing out standing up. I don't know.
Played that
all
one
I remember
note excellently, though, that he could play the one note. He played it very well for 3 minutes.
I remember Brian coming up to me after the show and being like, "This was all you, dude. Like, we couldn't have done this without you. I don't know how you maintained." And I was just like, I don't remember the last 20 songs that we did. Apparently I played them and it went well. I don't remember the second half of the show.
Right.
I'm the least. I drink the least out of probably everybody that was in the bar.
Tim did. I don't think Tim had pitchers. He was drinking out of bottles. And I believe when he was done with the set, he had like 15 bottles or something behind his drum kit that I had to kick over when I was helping him break down.
Yeah.
It's pretty excellent.
Just totally a great rock and roll moment, if I do say so myself. But Jeff, after we posted the episode with our spring break trip
shenanigans,
you actually wanted to clarify some things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was listening to it and, just kept reminiscing on my own, for our excellent experience.
And I'm sure that I said some things inaccurately because I don't even remember what I had for lunch today. I have a terrible memory. Sometimes I can't remember if I saw something or if I experienced it.
Sure.
I've always been like that. I'm just kind of a flighty, aloof kind of guy sometimes. So
I'm well aware.
And I have just as bad of recall as you do. So I didn't bother to correct you on a lot of things or even know that you were wrong.
So Jeff, is there anything that you would like to add about that story or correct me on? I did give you props though. You did punch me in the face.
I did punch you in the face. Yes.
Yeah.
Which was a highlight. Always been. Just a few things. Number one, the bar was Razzles.
All right.
Wow. See, I wouldn't even fucking know, dude.
The bus that we had, a 53 passenger bus, we had 52 people on it. And the last seat was taken up by the drum kit because Casey sat in the back with it. The whole ride up and the whole ride back.
Casey, the drummer from the other band.
The drummer from the other band, yes. Yeah. And that bus would take us daily into town, an entire tour bus with 4 people on it to get kegs. I just thought that was a funny addition that went in there. When you're talking about the Razzles experience, which was honestly the highlight to me of the whole thing, where we really got to play it off. That's where I got off the bus first and went right up to the bouncers and asked to speak to the owner and told him that I don't remember the name I had, but I was from Virgin Records and White Trash Stand. The band and 10 Minute Vision were with Virgin Records, and they just recently signed a deal, but they had previously committed to these acts or these concerts, shows that they had before. So what we were there for, myself and the other fake staff members, were to make sure that everything went well and that we were going to keep the Virgin property that has just been signed, make them happy and keep them aloof and, want to keep them part of the business and have all that go on. And we did have our own personal bar.
You were there to protect the newly acquired assets.
Exactly. And whatever they wanted is what they got. So that's why we did get our own personal bartender at the end of the bar. It was only us and the other 50 people that came with us that were able to go to that. I was face pushing people. Kyle and myself got to run the door for a little bit because I
forgot about that. Now, if anybody out there doesn't remember, Kyle is my brother who I was talking about. Whenever we wanted a beer, instead of waiting in line, my brother would go physically stop whoever was next up in line because Kyle. We're both kind of big dudes, but Kyle's 6'4" and a pretty cut, 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter if it was a dude or a woman. If we walked up to the bar, Kyle would pretty much just stiff arm him right in the chest and stop him from grabbing a drink.
As we were all into the charade that was going on, Kyle was probably the most into it of everybody. I mean, this was his swan song. If there was anything that he was ever going to do in his life, it was, I'm going to go to this bar and pretend I'm important and fuck everyone else.
He was definitely method. He was totally method.
Yes, he was method.
Okay, I gotta confess. I don't even. Is this the first night or the second night that everybody went out? Because I didn't go to one of the nights, and this may be the one I didn't go to.
I think this was the second night.
I think that was the second night. The first night was when they made everybody turn their shirts inside out, and we.
This was that night. When we had to turn our shirts inside out, that was that night.
Yeah. Okay. So I was there. Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I know is that I was sitting in my own section of the bar getting beer handed to me at my request, which is how it should be because I was the fucking lead guitar player of the band that you were taking care of.
Exactly.
I tell people about that, and a lot of times they don't believe me, and I still can't believe we actually managed to pull that off.
I can, because people are stupid.
And one thing,
a lot of it is planning and backstory is what people don't get. And the whole fake it till you make it is what the topic of the last podcast was, where this came up.
right? Mm-hmm.
You can fake it till you make it as long as you know what you're talking about when you're talking to people. So all you got to do is just set yourself up, have a little backstory, be able to answer some questions if it's going to come up. Kind of try to anticipate that.
See, and it's funny.
In the details.
It's funny because Dave had to remind me. I thought we were making that all up on the fly, but then Dave mentioned that we created a packet, and that's right. We actually did create a packet that was the full backstory and everything.
Full on pre-production for this motherfucker, dude.
I believe I also had business cards for this. So, yeah.
That was such a good time.
And now, the fake outrage of the week.
See, okay, so this goes along with this other bullshit that's going on too. Did you hear? Apparently, some dentist shot a lion.
I had a story about that.
All right, shoot.
Did you see my social media post yesterday?
No, no, I didn't.
Something to the effect of, I'm looking for a new dentist, and if anybody has any suggestions, I hear this guy in Minnesota has a pretty keen eye for detail.
Nice.
Because the whole thing is about how the licensing was wrong, whatever, this shit was legal, it was supposed to be, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So 2 hours after that, I lost half a tooth.
Really?
Yeah. I was eating a pretzel, and I have one tooth that kind of takes the full force of my teeth when they chomp together, because my teeth are a little crooked. That one breaks in half, and I'm sitting there like, I legitimately need a new fucking dentist now. I don't know if that's karma or just like the coolest coincidence ever. But
right, yeah,
I should call that guy. I'll give him my business.
You should. Well, here, the whole thing about this guy like killing a lion, like I think there isn't anybody out there that wouldn't agree that lions are like they're pretty kick-ass animals.
They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome,
they're
right?
The king of the goddamn jungle.
Right. And I support like hunters and all that. And I think, it's not my thing, but like if you have the money and it's legal to go shoot a fucking lion or whatever, go kill the fucking lion. It doesn't affect me.
Right.
Now, I guess there was some legalities where like the person that took him out was actually a poacher or something like that. And like, he didn't mean to shoot like an illegal lion,
Right.
But I guess what bugs me is, again, like all these people that want a pat on the back, and now all of a sudden everybody's for fucking saving lions in Africa because one asshole shot a famous one.
I just want to walk up to those people and be like, oh, Cecil, you know him? Does he call you at home? Like,
I want to be like, name me one other. All I need from you is name me one other famous lion.
Right.
like besides like the Lion in the Wizard of Oz.
And not Simba.
And Simba. Yeah, name me one other famous lion, because like everybody's like, oh, pat me on the back, I love lions, pat me on the back, I hate poachers, pat me.
This was the fake outrage of the week.
Okay, so here's a good topic that we kind of talked about a little bit. Have you guys seen Jurassic World?
I've not.
Yes.
God, that movie fucking sucks. Dave, what did you think?
So did you know that if you share some sort of similar pieces of DNA, you are automatically able to non-verbally communicate with something that you have never met in your entire life?
Absolutely. Where have you been? Have you not taken a science class?
Yeah, where did you go to school, Dave?
They have a new alpha. Oh my god.
And sorry for spoiling anything, Fink, but I'll just spoil it for you.
Oh, we're gonna spoil the shit out of it for you.
I really don't care.
Take the first movie.
Okay.
And make it shitty and corny. Okay. And you have Jurassic World.
So take the first movie.
Yeah. Fuck off, dude. The first movie.
You mean the documentary that was the first movie?
Right. Yeah. They totally bastardized a pivotal documentary about.
See, what they did was they heard all the complaints that that's not how it even really happened, and they tried to do it the right way and still failed.
Yeah, but see, it was because it was 20 years later, 30 years later, whatever. 25 years later. You can't have the same thing because you're living right now. Kids aren't going to understand the way it was in 1994, 1995, when they actually did develop real life dinosaurs on an island off the coast of Africa, and then it went awry.
Central
people
America
aren't going to get that now, the way that it happened back then. And I understand
here's the thing. Okay.
JP 1994. Never forget.
Hashtag.
I have to. Worst joke ever was when the guy was wearing the Jurassic Park T-shirt and they said that was in bad form. It is It's the same. It's Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's the same.
They're
fucking
at
thing.
the facility. Why are you complaining about him wearing the shirt?
Well, was it called Jurassic Park in the movie?
It was called.
No,
it was a Jurassic Park T-shirt.
Okay,
Like,
but was the place he was at called Jurassic Park?
World? It was
called Jurassic World because what I gathered, I don't think they explicitly say it, but it's just kind of like, hey, this rich Indian dude bought Jurassic Park, turned it into like a Disney World, and then named it Jurassic World.
Okay,
Yes.
because so he's
Right,
not
I
the
don't
guy who wore the T-shirt to the show of the band he's going to see.
No, he worked there.
He worked there monitoring the dinosaurs.
Yeah, and he was wearing a
enough.
Jurassic Park T-shirt, and they gave him shit about it because a lot of people died.
Right.
Well,
'cause
even
then
more people died later on in this movie.
Yeah,
You're at a place with dinosaurs. People are going to die every day. If people don't die every day, it's probably not a real dinosaur park.
Right.
That was part of the.
I have to go on this rant here. I can't hold it in any longer, like the shit I took earlier.
Nice.
So you hire the same genetics engineer from 20 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. The whole problem with Jurassic Park is that they were using DNA from animals, and they were able to use those traits to adapt to their environment and then become females or become males and
They used in the original Jurassic Park. They used the
reproduce.
genetics of a frog that
Right.
could change sex based on
Right.
its environment, in case if there were not as many males or females. Yes.
Right. So to create the new dinosaur, they used apparently raptor DNA. They used DNA from an animal that is highly intelligent. They used DNA from an animal that can change his body temperature to get around thermo detectors. And the scientist is like, I didn't know this would fucking happen. Well, it happened 20 fucking years ago the last time you used DNA to fill in the fucking gaps, you goddamn retard. Like, what are you learning? And then I started thinking about this. Okay. Follow me on this tangent. Jurassic World is Jurassic Park, just bigger and better, and put no more extra thought into it. The movies are the same thing. This movie is the same fucking movie, just bigger and more exciting with no more thought put into it. It didn't evolve. The whole thing is about evolution, but they didn't evolve the franchise any.
It's very Hangover and Hangover 2, where it's pretty much the same fucking movie.
I would say Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, because that is literally the same fucking movie.
Those are
literally
pretty
the
much
same
the exact same movie. Yes. Except there's no tree rape in the second one.
It's like Psycho, the shot-for-shot remake.
I think it seriously hit like every stereotypical thing that you could hit in a movie.
Yeah.
Like it almost lost me so many. It almost lost me so many times. But I was like, all right, keep muscling through. Because I don't know if you know this, but I had a dinosaur-themed wedding, and my wife actually walked down the aisle to the theme song to Jurassic Park.
It's a beautiful fucking song, man.
Right, and that is an honest-to-God truth, and I can provide pictures and video. So that really happened. We're huge dinosaur fans in our family, and we love the first Jurassic Park. But it was so similar to the very first movie. The first time I attempted to watch it, I gave up after 10 minutes. And Dave, I think I even told you that.
Yep, yeah, you did.
But then there was all these like ridiculously stupid things that they do in every movie now. Like even lines that are completely reused. I got so mad when Chris Pratt, whatever the fuck his character was, did the whole there's a woman who's smarter than him and she's in charge of the corporation, but now she's forced to follow him through the wilderness because he's like the husky know-it-all guy, like in the jungle and shit. And he's like, let's get something straight out here. I'm in charge.
Yeah.
That is the lamest fucking thing.
That was a failed attempt to bring in like the whole control thing, because you can't control animals and bleh.
Well, based on what your descriptions
are. It was just shitty writing.
Based on what your descriptions are of the movie, it sounds like it's the same types of tropes that are happening for everything that was neat and cool when it came out 20 years ago when we were kids. And saw it. And now everything's being remade to try to, for the sake of nostalgia or whatever, to goad for money, essentially. But it's being made for kids nowadays, and trying to play to the parents, so that way they'll actually go sit at the movie, with their kids and actually kind of enjoy it, maybe kind of.
See, and that's why I fucking hate movies nowadays. Like it was other stupid shit. Like at the very, very beginning of the film, the Indominus Rex or whatever the hell it's called with no problem flips
Did it have
over.
a six-pack?
Yes. Adonis Rex.
Indominus.
Sorry. Sorry.
But
I thought it was abdominus.
But at the very beginning of the film, he had no problem like nudging like one of them 4-door Jeep Wranglers with his nose, and it like flipped into the jungle, right? And he was able to eat some fat guy that was trying to hide behind it. Like not 10 minutes later, there was somebody hiding behind like a minivan, and the fucking dinosaur couldn't move the minivan because they were conveniently hiding in it. And then
the minivans are squat. Though I mean, they have a lower center of gravity, so that extra 2 inches.
It's not
physics. It's physics, guys. I mean, come on.
Another stupid vehicle thing in the fucking movie is these two asshole kids happen upon the original Jurassic Park Jeeps that have been sitting in the jungle and are way overgrown. Right? They have no tools, no gasoline, no electricity, no lights. No compressors, no room to work.
Not a single luxury.
Not a single luxury. And they got the fucking Jeep running.
Hey, dude, and they were everybody like 13 years old. When your car has been broken down, or probably not even broken down, just sitting still for 20 years.
In the elements in a jungle.
Just drop in a 20-year-old battery and fire that bitch up, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. When my car breaks down, I just go, hey, who's got a 20-year-old battery I can throw in? Because you remember when we helped fix Grandpa's GTO? That was the thing. Remember that one time you helped fix Grandpa's GTO? Let's do that to this Jeep. Okay. And they literally just drop in a battery and fire it up.
But the weird thing is, this movie was like mega successful. Like,
because people are stupid.
Mega successful. It's like it's on pace to be like the highest grossing movie ever. I think it's already past the Avengers.
And on a serious note, I'm really happy that's for Chris Pratt, because I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. I actually like his style.
Yeah.
Other than that, everyone else can suck a dick.
Especially that Asian scientist guy.
Yeah, especially mini John Mayer all emoed out, and mini Jack White, as I call them, because they totally look like fucking John Mayer.
The two kids?
White. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broody McBroodles with his fucking glazed over look in his eyes.
It was even the story, it was like the typical like slightly estranged family member who never gave a damn, but then because of her own hubris and apathy, like the kids are endangered, and therefore that's the reconciliation, and now like everybody's lovey-dovey because like two of them almost got killed in a horrible fashion.
And nobody gives a shit about the British bitch who, seriously, I haven't seen 2 or 3, but that has got to be the most brutal death anyone's ever suffered in Jurassic Park. That was fucking amazing. I was kind of like, damn.
Is it the one where like the pterodactyl?
Yeah, picked her up, dropped her in the water, came down, fucked with her again, pulled her out, and then everybody gets eaten by the big crocodile.
All right.
So like the funny thing the funny thing about that is like that is one point where I looked at my wife and I was like, what the fuck is this rated?
No, this is mild violence and shit.
Right.
People are just getting
like,
straight, like snapped
I will
up
say it's probably the goriest of all the Jurassic Parks. There's like blood splatters and everything. I was like, is this fucking rated R? But no, it's PG-13.
It's because it's murder by animals, not by people.
It's nature. It's nature. Those animals have to eat. Yes.
Right.
Also, one thing that bothered me too is and Fink, you would probably know, which Jurassic Park is it where the pterodactyls are flying in a friendly fashion around the helicopter and pose no threat, and everybody think it's just kind of like a beautiful thing?
I thought that was the first one when they were coming into the island.
I thought that was pelicans in the first one.
Was it?
Well, either way,
it was
I'll be honest, I haven't seen 2. I've seen 3, but I haven't seen 2.
Meat eaters, right?
Yeah. There was some Jurassic Park where either way, there was some of the original 3, there was some Jurassic Park where pterodactyls were not a threat and they were majestic and beautiful. But then in Jurassic World, they are the most murderous flying things you've ever seen in your life.
You know, I was thinking about when you said that too, but half those birds that escaped look like they had the face from Audrey 2. From Little Shop of Horrors.
Like the plant?
Yeah, they're like, feed me, Seymour. They got this big, nasty crocodile faces on a bird. It was
and then they
weird.
broke into Broadway sing and dance, which I really feel deviated from what really happened at Jurassic Park.
But my favorite part was probably the end. I did dig the battle
my favorite
scene.
part was the end also.
The battle scene was cool. Like, and we had a friend tell us like the last 15 minutes is totally worth it. So I stuck around, and it's cool because, spoiler alert, the way they deal with the Indominus is they go and they release the T-Rex.
Right, yeah.
And they specifically said, this thing is bigger and badder than the T-Rex. So how are you going to fight it? Let's go get a T-Rex.
See, that again is why I hate fucking movies, and I mentioned it before. Because
T-Rex wins. Of course, T-Rex fucking wins. Mm-hmm. And then he just walks off, and everybody's like, okay, we're fine now. The animal that just beat the animal that's fucking everything up is on the loose now, and everybody just doesn't care.
Well, a couple things about that. One, you know how like in every movie where there's like kind of a bad guy, but there's like a worse guy, so the redemption for the kind of bad guy is to beat up the bad guy, and then the kind of bad guy looks at the heroes of the movie, and they have like a moment where they meet eyes, and they just kind of come to an understanding that whatever beef they had is over, and they both kind of go off in their separate directions.
I'm pretty sure you just described the end of Suicide Squad.
Right, I'm sure that's how it'll end. But that fucking happened
Spoilers.
with the Tyrannosaurus and the Raptors and all that shit. Like,
Yeah, they even
after
gave the little nod, the little.
Yeah, like they knew what was going on. It's like, no, bullshit. Like, I don't think the T-Rex would give a fuck if that raptor jumped on the other dinosaur or not. He would have tried to eat the raptor and like kept trying. But no, it was like a fucking Die Hard movie where they were just like, thank you. And then they both like went off their separate directions.
Go
and
in peace, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And as soon as they released the leading up to it, I'm like, all right, this is where they get the fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex. And as soon as he like came out of the cage or whatever the fuck, I was like, I bet this stupid fucking movie ends with him roaring at the remains of Jurassic World. I'm like, I bet there's some really stupid, super dramatic shot of him like roaring into the sunset, standing over like a summit, looking down on Jurassic World, and that is literally how the fucking movie ends. Like, I fucking hate movies anymore because they're so goddamn predictable. It's like,
isn't that how the first one ended though?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I believe the first one ended with T-Rex roaring he was inside that building, and he was roaring in frustration or I don't know, whatever. So I kind of felt like that was like a full circle ode to the first one kind of a thing. But yeah, he absolutely just walked into like a helipad. Wasn't it like a helipad or something?
Yeah, it was like, like
some
the landing
structure.
pad.
Yeah, and he just roars over the remains of Jurassic World.
You're listening to Nothing Important.
You know what I finally got to do, though?
What's that?
Finally got to go to Canada, man.
That's right. So, how are the Canucks doing these days?
Dude, it was fucking great. For years, because we live in Chicago, so for years I keep telling my wife, I'm like, well, let's go to Canada. Let's get a stamp on the passport. It's only a few hour drive. We'll go right through Detroit. It'll be no big deal. And my wife is like, no, fuck that. I don't want to go to Canada. There's no reason to go to Canada. Fuck Canada. And I'm like, but you never been there, right? And she's like, well, no. And I'm like, well, that's why people go places. Like, let's go to fucking Canada, right? So for our 5-year anniversary, because my wife is cool as fuck, she was just came up to me. She's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to Canada. And I was like, yeah, even though like, it sounds like lame on the surface, I was just like, yeah, we're finally going after all these years of, because like every time on the weekend, like, what do you want to do? I'm like, oh no, we could always drive to Canada. So it was actually a pretty awesome time. We went to Windsor and we finally ate at a Tim Hortons. That's a big deal in Canada. You Canadian listeners will obviously know about Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons, Here's my thing about it, right? So, you know what poutine is?
No.
Okay, poutine is totally a Canadian cuisine. It's totally a Canadian dish, right?
Okay.
It's like the only fucking type of food that was ever made in Canada, like originated in Canada. And pretty much what it is, it's French fries with dark gravy and cheese curds. Like, you can get it at McDonald's. You can get it at Hardee's. Like, I got poutine from a place called Harvey's. Right? It's
Harvey's?
Yeah, Harvey's. I don't know. They don't have it in the States, I don't think. I've never seen a Harvey's around here. But so I finally got to have poutine. And the wife thought it would look absolutely disgusting. And I'm like, well, if you think about it, it's no different than eating potatoes and gravy with cheese because that's essentially what it is. But it's totally a Canadian thing, right? And then they have Tim Hortons, which is like a mix between a Dunkin' Donuts and a Krispy Kreme. Like, that's what like everybody talks about Tim Hortons and Tim Hortons and Tim Hortons. It's like their Dunkin' Donuts chain. And so we went to Tim Hortons and we got these fucking Reese's peanut butter cup donuts.
Oh my God.
And it was like a chocolate donut with like peanut butter, like melted peanut butter filling with chocolate frosting with like 5 mini Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh my God.
On top of it. So we went and got that. And then later in the day, I have poutine, which is just fucking French fries with gravy and cheese curds. And the whole time I'm thinking is, how the fuck are Americans the fat ones?
I was just going to say that. Why the hell are we fat?
Like I ate this in one day. This is like in like 2 hours. It was like fucking like 10,000 calories all at once.
Maybe they just have self-control and they don't eat that shit every day.
No, I wouldn't say that. There was a lot of fat ass Canadians running around. I thought there'd be
it's
like
cold. You got to blubber up, insulate yourself. We were having a discussion yesterday. We were talking about hunting and stuff. And I flat out told my buddy, I was like, dude, if it came down to it, I would fucking eat you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I don't know bullshit. Like, if it came down to it, I'm sorry, I'm a survivalist. You're dead. Like, I'm gonna fucking eat you. Like, if it was me and you, we'll find out who win the fight, I guess. But, and he's like, well, he's a skinny dude. He's like, well, you have to catch me. And I was like, dude, there's no food. I just gotta wait you out. Like, I'm going to last a hell of a lot longer than you, buddy. I'm drought and famine resistant.
You got reserves.
Drought and famine resistant.
But Canada was absolutely awesome. And me and my wife was like, I can't wait to go there again. Because it's funny, because it's not like we were that far in Canada. We stayed at the Caesars Palace there, like literally right on the Detroit River. We stayed on the 26th floor, and from our floor, we had a view of America. like, because it was like our view, the river, right? There was like the street in front of the hotel, the river, and then fucking Detroit on the other side.
You weren't dodging bullets, were you?
No, we drove through Detroit as quick as possible.
Okay, yeah. You don't stop at stop signs.
Right. So it was actually really awesome. I won like $500 on Lobster Larry.
Nice.
And my wife and I, we went on tour. We took the Jeep up there. We drove our Jeep up there, so we had the top down and everything. And we toured a bunch of wineries. Apparently, they make a lot of wine in Ontario. I would have never thought that either.
Not aware.
But this is interesting. Apparently, in Ontario, Canada, you can't buy beer or wine at stores. Like, all the alcohol goes through the government.
Yeah.
So you have to find like these little stores that are authorized to sell it. And the only place that sells beer is stores called the beer store.
The beer store, yeah. and
awesome.
They only sell beer, and you have to go to the fucking liquor store to get liquor.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just such a different world for being so incredibly similar. I mean, I get it. It's only like across the river, but like different countries have different cultures.
Yeah,
and
it's
such.
still a cultural barrier.
Yeah. So, and then we went to the Canadian Club Factory and we took a tour, and they had like maple syrup whiskey. It's so good, but it's so by Canadian Club. It's so good. Like, when I got to taste it, I was like, tastes like pancakes. It was so great. But they lied to me. They said they had it at the duty free office going across the border. We stopped at duty free and they didn't have it. So I was very distraught because I was going to buy like 5 bottles and bring it back.
Damn.
But some other great things about Canada is they still have phone booths in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if Superman moved there or they're just like I couldn't believe it. Like, when I saw one, because like my first reaction was, my wife goes, "Look, there's a phone booth," and I was like, "What fucking year is it in Canada?" Like, because when's the last time you've seen a phone booth around here? Right, like. When I can't even remember last time I've seen a phone booth, unless it was like in something like a TGI Fridays and it was part of the like novelty that they hang on the wall.
Like at the Rustic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I almost feel like we went to college, and then when we came out of college, all public phones are gone.
Right.
They just went away with pagers.
They all went to fucking Canada, apparently, because they're fucking everywhere in Canada.
Maybe they don't have Obama phones in Canada.
And this isn't even a Canada thing, but boba tea. Do you know what boba tea is?
I know what Boba Fett is.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. No, boba tea is like tea tea with like these weird little like gummy bubbles in them that you're supposed to chew. And I was like, I don't want to have to eat my tea.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to chew my drink to drink it.
If you have to eat
it's like
soup.
a tea. It's what?
So then it's like soup.
Yeah, it's so like, and I never heard of that before.
No.
It's so weird, but absolutely awesome trip. So I and I didn't almost die there like I did in Mexico. So it's a good thing. So it was good. I stayed mostly alive this time, but awesome trip to Canada. 8 out of 10. I would go again.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been to Canada, but I didn't experience Canada because we drove straight to a small town, hopped on a little float plane, and drove to a private lake and did a week-long fishing trip in a secluded lake with the only lodge on it was the one we were staying at. And it was it was amazing, and I want to live there because I want to live in Canada. I want to live in a remote section of Canada and just like kill moose and eat that and eat northern.
And drink maple syrup whiskey.
Drink maple syrup whiskey and Canadian beer because it's like moonshine. And yeah, that's the life for me, dude. Follow the only road. Yeah. Follow the only road.
South Park reference. Very nice.
Be sure to follow Nothing Important online at nothingimportantpodcast.com. Find us on iTunes, on Twitter at NotImportantPC, and you can also find us on Facebook. Nothing Important is recorded with help from Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois. Thanks for being awesome.